Leo, my radiant soul, my fierce-hearted star, welcome home. You didn't find this video by chance. No, something in your spirit was searching, maybe not in words, but in energy. And now you're here. Right on time. Because this message is not about random predictions. It's about realignment. It's about truth. And if you're watching this, the universe is asking you to stop, take a breath, and get ready because a soul gift is coming your way. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you paused long enough to hear what your heart has been whispering underneath the noise? This moment, it isn't just another scroll through content. It's an invitation. One that has traveled through energy, time, and space to land right here, with you, in this sacred moment. On this journey with eternal mindfulness, we don't rush. We listen. We align. We become aware of the soft but undeniable signs, and Leo, you've just stepped into one. The universe is shifting. And for you, Leo, this week holds something different. Something gentle, yet undeniable. This isn't about hustle. This isn't about proving anything. It's about allowing your radiance to be received. You are a being of immense light ruled by the sun itself. But even the sun has its sunrise, its moment of stillness before it rises again in all its glory. Right now, you are in that golden pause. And this video, this sacred space, is here to help you reclaim it. If lately you've felt like you've been pushing too hard, giving too much, or dimming your fire to make others comfortable, this is your call to stop. To breathe. Because the gift that's coming to you isn't one you have to chase. It's one that finds you when you're aligned, when you're awake, and when you're grounded in your truth. So if your heart has been quietly aching for clarity, for healing, for a sign that says, yes, your time is near, then I want you to stay with me, because what the cosmos is about to reveal is nothing short of transformative. Before we dive deeper, let me take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your presence here. Every like, every comment, every subscription not only supports eternal mindfulness, it strengthens our shared vibration. It allows us to continue bringing forward the kind of soulful, healing messages you won't find just anywhere. You make this possible. And I honor that. Now, Leo, tell me, what called you here today? What part of your intuition nudged you toward this very moment? If something deep within you feels seen, if a part of your spirit is already whispering, this message is for me, I invite you to comment below and say, I rise with the universe. Let your energy be witnessed. Let your soul speak. Because together, we are about to enter a current of powerful insight, and I promise you, by the end of this journey, you won't just feel inspired. You'll feel lit from within. Let's begin. And so here we are, dear Leo, standing at the threshold of something quietly powerful, the moment when your inner flame, once dimmed by the noise of the world, begins to stir again. If you've stayed with me up to this point, it means some part of your heart has already recognized this energy, not as something new, but as something ancient that you're finally ready to return to. This part of our journey is not about adding more to yourself. It's about remembering. And what you are remembering is the source of your fire. The sun, your ruling force, is now illuminating a deeper chamber of your emotional sky, the place where passion once turned into purpose, and where confidence once danced freely without explanation. But when the light you carry is continually poured into everyone else, when you become the one who always gives, always shows up, always holds steady, eventually, the flame begins to flicker. Not because you are less than. Not because you are weak. But because even the brightest stars need to pause and realign with their own center. Right now, the astrological placement of the sun is not just energizing your external life. It's inviting you to look inward into the spaces where you once felt fully alive but may have gone quiet. And the beauty of this moment is that you don't need to force anything to reignite. Your flame has never gone out. It's simply been waiting for your permission to rise again, not for applause, not to impress, but because you're ready to live with full sincerity. In numerology, we are touched by the number 1 at this point, the number of the initiator, the beginning, the brave. But this isn't a beginning born of immaturity. It's a beginning that emerges when a person finally says, "I am no longer willing to shrink to be safe." That is the kind of strength you're stepping into. The strength of being seen not just for what you do, but for who you are when no one is watching. Let's be honest, Leo, there are moments when you feel misunderstood. When your generosity is mistaken for performance. When your silence is mistaken for detachment. But you and I both know, your heart runs deeper than most people will ever know. And this phase of your life is less about proving that depth and more about allowing it to lead. You don't need to explain yourself to be valid. You only need to be true to your energy. There's a quiet teaching not tied to any single faith, but deeply rooted in the nature of awakening that says, when the inner fire burns steadily, the winds outside lose their power. What this means is that your power doesn't come from reacting to life, it comes from responding to it from a place of inner clarity. And the more you cultivate that clarity, the more stillness you bring to your choices, the more presence you invite into your actions, the brighter your flame grows. Not in bursts, but in consistency. The law of attraction meets you exactly where you are energetically. And the universe, which responds not to your words but to your essence, cannot resist a soul that is lit from within. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you embody. And when you embody the quiet confidence of one who knows they are enough even in their most private, unfiltered moments, life begins to respond in kind. So I want you to pause here, just for a breath. Ask yourself, gently, where have I been giving away my fire, hoping to be seen, when in truth, I have always been worthy of witnessing myself first. You don't need to be louder, brighter, more accomplished to be loved. You only need to return to your own warmth. If you've ever felt unseen, misjudged, or like your light was too much or not enough, this is your moment to speak it. Share with me below in the comments, when have you felt misunderstood? And let this be the place where your truth becomes a bridge not only between you and me, but between you and the version of yourself you're ready to rise into. Because this is not the end of your fire. It is only the beginning of its truest burn. As we continue this journey together, Leo, let's bring that inner flame we just rekindled into the real world, into the spaces where your ambition lives, where your work matters, and where your sense of self-worth directly shapes your relationship with success. If the previous moment was about remembrance, this is about expression. About how you show up in the world with that reignited fire, not to burn yourself out, but to light a path you can walk with clarity, confidence, and heart. Right now, the energy surrounding you is deeply aligned with your natural gifts, the ability to lead, to inspire, to create, and to command attention not from ego, but from authenticity. Astrologically, the Sun, your ruling planet, is highlighting the areas of your life tied to creative expression, career direction, and personal legacy. This is not a time to shrink. It's a time to act, but not with urgency, rather with intention. There's a quiet difference between chasing results and embodying readiness. You're not being asked to rush. You're being asked to root. The Knight of Wands and the Sun have appeared together for you now, and that pairing is powerful. One speaks of movement driven by passion and urge to pursue what ignites your soul, while the other reminds you that your joy is not just a byproduct of success. It is the compass. And when you allow joy to guide your decisions, your work no longer feels like a burden. It becomes an offering. That's what makes Leo energy so magnetic. When you lead from your truth, people follow not because you ask them to, but because your presence awakens something in them. Still, even those born under the most radiant sign need to check their alignment. Have you been pouring energy into proving your worth, rather than embodying it? Sometimes the fire within us becomes distorted by the pressure to be more, earn more, achieve more. But the path of true power isn't about grasping for more, it's about refining your focus, clarifying your values, and letting go of anything that asks you to trade your peace for praise. There is a simple yet profound teaching: when the mind is clear and the heart is steady, right action arises without struggle. You don't need to chase opportunity. You only need to prepare yourself so fully that when opportunity arrives, you're ready to receive it. And that starts now. Start small. Write down 3 financial or career goals that feel aligned with your values. Not goals that impress others, goals that excite you, challenge you, and reflect the kind of life you want to build. Then each day, take one small action toward them. Just one. Progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like a quiet yes to yourself before the world even hears it. Numerologically, we are supported by the number 33 in this phase, the vibration of conscious leadership and heart-centered wisdom. It reminds you that power without presence is noise. But when power is paired with awareness, it becomes service. And Leo, that's where your radiance becomes unstoppable. You are not just here to rise. You are here to rise in a way that elevates others too. Let gold be your color this week, not only as a symbol of prosperity, but as a mirror of your inner worth. Golden energy holds warmth, strength, visibility, and grace, all qualities that already exist in you. Use it to anchor your space, your wardrobe, or even your morning rituals. Let it remind you that your value isn't up for negotiation. It simply is. If you've ever been overlooked, undervalued, or misunderstood in your work, I want you to reclaim your narrative. Comment below and affirm it: I know my true worth. Because when you declare your value out loud, you invite the world to meet you where you stand. Not where you used to be. Not where others expect you to be. But here, grounded, glowing, and already becoming. Love, Leo, is not a performance. It is not something you must earn, display, or dramatize, and yet, because your heart is so naturally bold, so openly expressive, it's easy to forget that your deepest longing isn't simply to love, but to be seen in that love. Truly seen. And more than that, understood. This part of your journey is not about chasing affection or replaying old scripts of attention and withdrawal. It's about gently turning your gaze inward and asking, where has my heart been waiting for recognition, even in silence? When someone walks away, goes quiet, or seems distant, it can feel like a rejection of your light. But often, that silence is not about your lack of worth, it's about their unreadiness to meet the depth you offer. Sometimes people retreat not because you burn too bright, but because they weren't prepared to sit in that warmth without losing themselves. The heart you carry, Leo, is a rare one, fierce in its loyalty, generous in its giving, and courageous in how it hopes, even after disappointment. But just as fire needs oxygen to grow, love needs space to breathe. Not all connections are meant to last forever. And not all silence is meant to be broken. Some serve as mirrors, showing you where your love was asking to be poured back into yourself. Still, that doesn't mean love won't return. In fact, the cosmic alignments now suggest someone is slowly recognizing the quiet echo you left in their life. Maybe it's someone from the past, maybe it's someone present but emotionally distant. Either way, there is a shift happening, a gentle unraveling of pride, a softening of resistance. But what matters more than whether they come back is how you hold your heart while they do. Can you hold it gently, without closing it off, and without needing their return to validate your value? There is a quiet truth often missed in the noise of desire, that when you release the need to be loved a certain way, you create space for love to arrive in its truest form. Not as performance. Not as approval. But as presence. It is in that stillness where healing takes root. The kind of healing that doesn't come from another's apology, but from your own willingness to stay open without expectation. And here's the practice: when you feel that ache, that missing, that memory, that urge to reach out or pull away, pause. Place your hand over your chest. Breathe. And simply say, "May I be gentle with this heart." Because your capacity to feel deeply is not a weakness. It is the very thing that makes love, when it finally meets you right, feel like home. In this season, you may find natural resonance with signs like Sagittarius, Aries, or Gemini, connections that bring lightness, fire, and playful communication. But if you feel pulled toward Taurus energy, remember that stability sometimes moves slowly. It requires patience, trust, and a willingness to let growth happen in silence before it blossoms in words. And above all, Leo, let yourself shine in love, not to attract, but to be. Let your heart speak clearly, whether it's in the presence of another or in the quiet of your own room. Because when your love is rooted in authenticity, it becomes magnetic. It draws in the kind of relationship that sees you, not just for how brightly you burn, but for the steady warmth you offer beneath it all. So, I ask you now, who has stirred your heart this week, even for a moment? Who made you pause, wonder, feel something shift? If someone came to mind, comment below with a flame. Let it be your quiet signal to the universe that you're listening, and you're ready not just to love, but to be loved in return, without needing to shrink or shine harder to be enough. After exploring the tender complexities of your heart, Leo, we now arrive at a space that is just as vital, though often neglected: the space of rest, nourishment, and gentle self-regard. It's easy to believe, especially for someone like you who naturally radiates strength, that slowing down might somehow dull your brilliance. But the truth is, rest doesn't diminish your power, it refines it. Like a flame that needs stillness to burn steady, your energy thrives not just through movement, but through intentional pause. This part of your journey invites you to step back, not because you're failing or falling behind, but because you're wise enough to sense when your system needs a softer rhythm. When the body is fatigued, when the emotions grow heavy, when the mind races but the spirit is quiet, that is not a failure of discipline. It is a call inward. A chance to renew your fuel from within, so that when you rise again, you do so from a place of true vitality rather than sheer will. There's a deeper wisdom that says, strength is not holding on, it's knowing when to let go of what no longer supports your balance. Just as the lion in nature doesn't roar all day long, neither must you always prove your resilience by doing more. Sometimes, the greatest roar is the silent one, the choice to stop, to exhale, and to tend to your own sanctuary. Your body, your breath, your space, all of these are temples that require reverence, not pressure. This week, make it a practice to begin each morning by placing your hand on your chest and softly saying, "Today, I allow myself to shine without exhaustion." Feel the weight drop. Let that one sentence become your permission slip to take breaks without guilt, to nourish yourself without rushing, to move your body because it feels good, not because you have something to prove. There are also small, mindful choices you can make throughout your day that build inner resilience. Foods like turmeric, honey, and walnuts, simple, earthy, grounding, support your heart, your liver, and your clarity. A glass of warm water before sunrise. A few stretches to open your shoulders, your chest, your back, not to chase a physical ideal, but to create space for breath and light to move freely within you. This is not indulgence. This is care. It is alignment. And your system, physical and energetic, responds to that with gratitude. The law of attraction doesn't only respond to your vision board or your affirmations. It responds to how you treat yourself when no one is watching. When you carry yourself like someone worthy of rest, joy, nourishment, and peace, the world begins to meet you at that vibration. It's not just about attracting more, it's about showing the universe that you've made space to receive it. So I ask you, what will you do today to care for yourself, not as a task, but as an act of self-loyalty? What can you give yourself without waiting for permission? These are not empty questions, they are keys. And when you answer them, not just with words, but with action, you tell every cell of your being that you are home. You are worthy. And you are already enough, even in stillness. If you've been giving your energy to everyone else, if your light has been shining outward more than inward, let this moment be a return. Share with me in the comments what's one thing you will do to care for yourself today. Speak it out. Anchor it. Let your body hear it. Say, "I am worthy of care." And mean it. Because, dear Leo, when you love yourself as only you can, the world remembers how to love you back. After resting in your own radiance and reclaiming the energy you once gave away too freely, something within you begins to whisper, not loudly, but clearly. It is a whisper from your own becoming, an invitation to look ahead, not just with strategy or structure, but with vision. The star appears now, not as a promise of something external, but as a reflection of what already exists within you, waiting patiently for your attention. This card doesn't shout. It guides. And its message is simple: the light you've been looking for has always been yours. So much of your journey, Leo, has been about being seen. You were born to shine. And yet, real power comes not only from being seen, but from being understood. Not just heard, but truly felt. And that starts with you. With the honesty to admit where you've been dimming your dreams out of fear of rejection, and the courage to ask, what part of me have I silenced in order to belong? This is the space where quiet reflection becomes sacred action. What are the dreams you've tucked away, convincing yourself it wasn't the right time? What words have you swallowed because they felt too vulnerable, too big, or too strange to say out loud? There's a gentle lesson here, one rooted in the kind of awareness that doesn't seek applause. Anything born from sincerity will eventually find its way into the light. You don't have to force your future. You only have to become available to it. Energetically, you are now supported by the frequencies of numbers like 11, 33, and 44, numbers that carry the vibration of alignment, purpose, and divine order. When these show up repeatedly, whether on clocks or receipts or in your thoughts, it's not about superstition. It's a form of quiet orientation. A reminder to pay attention to the present moment, because the seeds of your future are already being planted there. Awareness, after all, is what turns ordinary steps into meaningful ones. There's also a deeper understanding at play here, one that speaks to the balance between intention and release. Like the teaching of letting go of the fruit of your actions, while staying devoted to the purity of the action itself. In other words, show up fully for the dream, not because you're guaranteed a specific outcome, but because walking toward it aligns you with the most honest version of yourself. That alone is a reward worth choosing. The law of attraction isn't just about asking and receiving. It's about embodying. If you carry the frequency of lack, even your deepest requests will be filtered through fear. But when you begin to carry the energy of fulfillment, when you declare, "I am light, and I do not need permission to shine," something shifts. The world doesn't just respond. It rearranges. The dream doesn't come because you begged it to. It comes because you've become the person who can hold it. So right now, Leo, ask yourself, if I truly believed I would be supported, what would I begin today? If I trusted that my dream was valid even if no one else understood it yet, what quiet, powerful step would I take this week? And then take it. Not to prove, not to perform, but to align. You don't need to chase a future. You only need to meet it halfway, with presence, clarity, and the calm strength of someone who finally realizes they were never lost, only evolving. Let your steps be steady. Let your light be honest. And let yourself be heard, even if your voice trembles. Because the universe is listening. And more importantly, you are too. And now, Leo, as we begin to close this sacred space we've shared, I want to remind you of something you may have forgotten in the rush of daily life. Your light was never lost. It may have flickered. It may have hidden behind clouds of doubt, fatigue, or expectation. But it never left you. Everything you've experienced, the stillness, the missteps, the moments when you questioned your path, all of it has been shaping you, refining you, preparing you to rise with more honesty, more strength, and more grace than ever before. You were not born to be small. And yet, life can sometimes whisper convincing reasons to stay quiet, to play it safe, to wait. But what if this moment, this very breath, is your invitation to stop waiting? What if today is not just another day, but a threshold? A pivot point? A turning of the inner tide? You have everything you need to begin living in alignment with the fire that was placed in your soul from the very beginning. But first, you must decide, will I continue dimming myself to fit the patterns of the past, or will I dare to believe that what's ahead could be brighter, fuller, more true? Because here's the truth, Leo, you are not here to follow. You are here to lead. But not through force or performance. Through presence. Through intention. Through remembering that your inner glow doesn't require approval. It only requires permission. yours. So pause with me for a breath, and ask yourself, what is one thing I've been waiting to express? What truth have I been carrying silently, hoping someone else would name it first? And what would happen if, just for today, I spoke it for myself? This is your practice. Not to change everything all at once, but to begin with softness, with courage, with clarity. Maybe it's journaling your next step. Maybe it's resting when your body asks. Maybe it's finally taking that small risk you've been putting off. Whatever it is, trust that it matters. Trust that it adds to your becoming. Remember, the most powerful transformation rarely begins with a thunderclap. It begins with a quiet yes. A choice made not in front of a crowd, but in the privacy of your own heart. And yes, you are fully capable of that choice. Right here. Right now. If something in today's message stirred something in you, don't let it pass. Let it land. Let it grow. Share with me in the comments what part of your light are you ready to honor more fully? What step will you take to live in the truth of who you are? I'd love for you to affirm it with this intention: I choose to live fully in my light. Write it down below. Let your voice echo into this shared space. You never know who you might inspire just by being real. And if this video resonated with you, if it gave you even a moment of clarity, courage, or calm, please take a second to like, comment, and subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness. Your presence here fuels this work. Every interaction, every kind word, every share, it's not just support. It's energy. It's community. It's how we keep showing up for each other, and for ourselves. I'm deeply grateful you chose to spend this time with me. Thank you for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. You are not alone in this. And you never have to be. I hope you'll carry this warmth with you, not as a temporary spark, but as a steady fire, something to return to whenever you need it. Until next time, dear Leo, keep walking forward with quiet confidence. Keep choosing truth over perfection. And keep trusting that the universe is already conspiring to meet you halfway. You are not here to earn your place in the light. You are the light. Don't forget that. See you in the next video, where we'll listen again, together, to the next whisper from the stars.